So I thought we'd do a fun video about some Twitter drama that I've been enjoying. I'm not going to lie, this whole thing has been... it's been funny. It's been funny watching them get their comeuppance. I'm going to let Noel explain what's happened. Here we go. No, and I trust Noel because he is one of the most impartial people online. And people might, people for some reason think we're friends or something. It's not that we're friends. It's just that we have nothing to be enemies about. And so I've got a great deal of respect for Noel and the work he does. And I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. You should check him out. If you want a fair breakdown of things that have happened, Noel is the man to go to. And in regards to like our community, he's the man to go to. He's the most objective man I've met in this community. And I saw someone was accusing him on Twitter of being my buddy or something, and Noel was just like, not really. It's just Sargon doesn't lie about me, and I don't lie about anyone else either. But Christie does, and that's why he has an opposition to Christie. But anyway, I'll let Noel explain what's happened.
That little exchange online, and what I can't get my head on, call me cynical, right? Call me fucking cynical if you like, but Christie Winters gives off this vibe that she just loved Heather, she's just so fond of Heather, and if there's one thing she cannot stand, she just cannot abide, it's people not being sufficiently respectful, not being sufficiently reverent for the death of Heather. Right, and I'd absolutely be on board with that if it wasn't for the fact that if I felt like that about somebody, right, I wouldn't be tweeting about it to the kind of person that I thought would be disrespectful, right? We all know what Christie Winters thinks about Sargon of Akkad, and we all know the kind of reaction she would expect to get from Sargon of Akkad. So colour me fucking surprised that Christie Winters tweets this to Sargon of Akkad. Sargon of Akkad makes a bullish, disrespectful tweet about this Heather back, effectively, and Christie Winters has a fucking fainting couch moment. How could he possibly make such a disrespectful comment about this person I loved so much? I just find, maybe I've got my little cynical cap on there, that's kind of fishing for that a little bit.
I just want to add some more context here. More importantly, Christie had come out of the blue with this as well. I had an interaction with Ian Miles Chung. Sorry to pause it like that, Noel. I had an interaction with Ian Miles Chung, which was completely unrelated, and Christie came in bringing up her friend. And so I had said, I'm sorry that one of your male feminist friends shot another one of your friends. I hope none of the other male feminists around you turn out to be bad, or something roughly approximating that. And I had done this deliberately, to piss Christie off, and the rest of them, because all I get all day from these because all I get all day from these fucking liars is abuse. And I'm not the one who's categorizing this as abuse. They are the ones who would categorize this as abuse. If I sent to Anita Sarkeesian just half of the stuff they sent to me, I'd probably get shut down. They'd be reporting me non-fucking stop. And they'd be calling me every name under the sun anyway, which they already do, so fuck these people. So yeah, these people can get the complete wrath of my ire as far as I'm concerned. I do not care about their feelings at all. I'm not interested in protecting their feelings. In fact, I want to hurt their feelings to the point where they just leave me alone. Because they are... So many people tell me that they're basically like an anti-Sargon community, and that's fine. They can go and be an anti-Sargon community as much as they want. They just don't have to contact me. And if they're going to contact me and consistently denigrate me, well, guess what I'm going to fucking do in return? I'm not going to suddenly treat you with respect and think, well, I don't want to hurt that person's feelings, even though they're calling me a piece of shit, even though they're lying about me and calling me scum, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hurt their feelings. No, fuck their feelings. Fuck the social justice community. There is no dialogue to be had with them. They don't want dialogue. They don't want it. If they did, they wouldn't consistently lie. If they wanted dialogue, Tim Blake wouldn't start a video like this.
And this involves Sargon of Akkad, Carl of Swindon.
That's really respectful, Tim. That's really making me want to have a dialogue with you, Tim. But go on.
Benjamin Carl, man. To me, Sargon of Akkad is an amazing example of the mediocrity that can result from popularity. He's not well read on the subjects that he talks about. He's not very intellectually curious. He's not very intelligent, but he sounds like he is, so he's kind of like a pseudo-intellectual. He's very bad at listening to other people's arguments, but he's excellent at straw manning and just making up other people's positions and attacking that. And he has a tremendous ego. Like, he seems to think that his shit doesn't stink and that he can do anything that he wants to do and it's always fine. And the way that his fans kind of suck up to him, he kind of has a point. You know, once you reach a certain level of popularity, you create an aura around yourself, a kind of community of people who defend you. So no matter what you do, they're always going to find an excuse. But given his popularity, like 600-something thousand subscribers, he doesn't have to face the fact that he is incredibly mediocre intellectually, that his arguments are very poor, but they do create a kind of gut reaction to his followers who want to be angry and outraged at social justice and feminists and so forth. And he's built up this entire narrative that everything in the world... He's built up this entire narrative that the main problem with the whole world is liberals and progressives and social justice people and so on. And that's just the whole thing that he shovels to his listeners every single day. That's what they go to his channel for, that's what they want to hear. They just want to hear that narrative over and over and over again, that social justice is the biggest problem in the entire world, and that social justice advocates, which they call warriors, are the worst hypocrites in the world. And
Okay, Tim, none of that is true. None of that is true. Everything you've just said there is false. But the worst part is, this is how you begin your video. Over a minute of you ranting about how much you just hate me and just denigrating me constantly. And then you're annoyed that I call you a hypocrite. This is why I call you a hypocrite, Tim.
we're in an unrelated tweet by Ian Miles Chong about John McCain. Christie brought up Sargon being in a stream where he mocked and made fun of the death of a feminist. Okay, I know what people will say.
Now, Tim is about to disprove Christy Winters. I'm just going to skip over it because you've heard the stream before, I'm sure. But he even includes the part where I say, look, we shouldn't do this. So Tim has just confirmed that Christy Winters was lying. And not only that, he goes on to confirm more.
People who were just mocking her death relentlessly and then later pretending that they were mocking the killer.
Well, they were, but carry on, Tim. You know, you can read their minds better than they can, I suppose.
Which is still hilarious to me. Just go listen to that stream and you'll see how much they loved the fact that a feminist got murdered.
No, we love the fact that a feminist did the murder. That was the funny bit. And do you know why, Tim? It's not like people hadn't had arguments and conversations with Russian Deadpool, which was the man being mocked. You know, the murderer. The murderer who was in your group of friends who murdered a woman who professed to be a feminist. Do you not see the irony of that, Tim? That it's one of your friends, a feminist, that murdered a woman. After telling us and talking down to us as if we weren't people, as if we were the people who don't respect women. The idea that you can somehow see past this is incredible to me, and the idea that Christy Winters would weaponize the death of her friend in order to score points on Twitter is shocking to me as well. And the fact that you don't call that out is why I'm calling you a hypocrite, Tim.
Christie brought it up. I think it was somewhat uncharitable because it wasn't really related to the conversation about John McCain.
So Christy was in the wrong. That's what you need to do. Just say it. Christy was in the wrong. I mean, you've just said it. So why aren't you calling up Christy?
And she was like, so Ian Miles Chong, do you also condemn Sargon? Now, this could also be seen as a part of the culture war.
Yes, you're culture warrioring, which is a new term I've made up. And you've called this video culture war garbage. And yet it's still aimed at me. You're still making excuses for Christy. Why?
What? That Christie was partaking in there between the social justice warriors and the anti-social justice people, because it was kind of like, Ian Miles Chong, you're on that side, and you're saying this about that, so do you also condemn this on your side? So that's sort of part of the whole dynamic. But I do...
Yes, and Christy was... Yes, and Christy was perpetuating it. And the point is, you don't care because you are a culture warrior as well.
I do think Ian could have just answered that in an honest way. Like, what's...
Why would he? Why would he? She's not approaching him in an honest way. Why would he answer it honestly? Why would he do that? Your problem is with Christy Winters so far. Carry on.
What does he think about that? Instead, they all went berserk, and then Sargon the Card came in and made this extremely vicious tweet.
Vicious tweet.
To Christy.
Yes, I did, and I'll do it again. The next time one of you little bitches steps out of line, I will do anything I can to hurt your feelings. Because do you know what? Do you know something really interesting? Hurting your feelings isn't against the terms of service. This tweet didn't violate the terms of service. It just really pissed you off. Maybe you'll be more careful in future.
And obviously people were riled up because that was a very cruel and antagonistic tweet.
Imagine, you are part of a community that most people around you who aren't in your community, just describe you as the anti-Sargon community. You spend all day, every day, tweeting either, malicious things at me or just spreading false propaganda about me. And you are sat there saying, well, this was a really mean tweet. Get fucked, Tim. Holy shit, do you think I owe you any amount of charity when it comes to considering your feelings? You must be insane. You must be so unbelievably insane or incredibly entitled.
But he was kind of reacting, so it's kind of like a tribal...
No, I was reacting, that's exactly right. Because Christy was provoking. She was trying to score points in the culture war. That's what your friend was doing. You've already called it out. For some reason, though, you have to come to me, and that's because, you know why, you're on that side and I'm on this side. That's the only reason why you're being a hypocrite.
War of just endless stupidity going back and forth. So
that you're currently making excuses for. Go on.
My friend, feminist Chrisiosity, she got riled up and she got really angry and she was like, Sargon, you're full of shit, you're a fucking monster, you're a bastard, fuck you.
Yeah, and that's against terms of service. And if I was saying that to Anita Sarkeesian, you'd fucking flip a table. You would be demanding, there would be a petition against me to get me banned and defunded on every single platform. I've never said anything like this to Anita Sarkeesian. I've never said anything like this to anyone, I don't think. But the point is, this isn't okay by your terms of service that you support. You don't want people saying things like this, and then Chrissy gets a bit pissed off and then does it herself. She's an abuser, Tim. She is an abuser of me, Tim. Now, whether I care about that or not is not your business. What the business is that this violates Twitter's terms of service.
I hate you and I remind you every day what a piece of shit you are.
Imagine if I said that to Anita, Tim. Just imagine it. Go on, picture it. Anita, I hate you, you're a piece of shit, and I'm going to remind you every single day. And what? Would you just go, yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't fucking worry about it. Of course you wouldn't. You'd be furious.
And so then Sargon, after throwing out this inflammatory tweet and this...
Yeah, I love the way you can't call it an abusive tweet. It's not an abusive tweet, it's just inflammatory. It's just telling you to get fucked, I don't care about your feelings.
Reaction taking place, he reported her account and got...
Damn right I did. And I'll do it again. I swear to God, the next time any one of you sends me anything that even looks like an insult, I'm going to report you. I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to tell you to your face that I'm going to do it. Because I'm sick of the way you treat me, and I don't have to deal with it. And I don't have to deal with it because of the rules you supported. This was brought in by Feminist Frequency and Crash Override and the various other feminist advocacy groups that are basically embedded with Twitter. This is your doing, you fucking idiots. And if you don't like it, maybe you should keep your little twitchy Twitter fingers to yourselves. You don't have to follow me on Twitter. Well, you can't, but a bunch of you do. You don't have to tweet me. You don't have to mention me. You don't have to come anywhere near me. And the second you do, if it's not in what I consider to be a manner that doesn't violate the terms of service, oh my goodness, you're getting reported. If you don't like it, I'll find the tiny violin I have just around here somewhere. Hang on, oh god, it's so small I misplaced it, Tim.
Got her suspended, and then gloated about reporting her account and getting her suspended. And some fans and people have said, like, this must be a setup for a video. He's just about to release a video where...
Not really. I was just pissed off with you all. But you got the video, so well done.
He says, oh, so you don't like your own tactics being used against you. You don't like it when you get reported. You were mean to me, and I reported you, and you didn't like that, but you're a hypocrite because you're a social justice warrior.
No, you're a hypocrite because you don't mind when other people do it. That's why you're a hypocrite, Tim. You're a hypocrite because you support Anita Sarkeesian doing things like this. But the thing is, right, I don't even mind if Anita Sarkeesian does this. I've never had a problem with her reporting actual abuse. I don't think it's a wise thing to abuse people. I don't think it's a good thing to abuse people. I don't think it's a thing that promotes dialogue or anything of the sort. So don't do it. But if someone does tweet, you're a bitch at Anita Sarkeesian, she's well within her rights to report that. That is a violation of the terms of service. And if you do the same thing to me, guess what?
But I'm just stunned by the fact that they can always justify everything that they do by saying it's just a reaction to social justice warriors.
Do you not recall saying that I was reacting to Christy Winters? Do you not recall saying those very fucking words? It is a reaction. You started this. If you don't like it, tell Christy not to tweet at me. Because I tell you what, next time one of your feminist friends does something that's either, rapes a woman, abuses a woman, stalks a woman, whatever, I'm going to throw that in your fucking face, Tim. I'm going to be like, these are your friends, Tim. And you know what? I don't care anymore. You've got me to the point after, 2-3 years of this, where I literally just don't give a shit about you or your feelings. I am going to bury you under the weight of your shitty friends and the shitty things they do to women while claiming that they are feminists. Just you wait, Tim. I've got a hell of a video on male feminists coming up. You're going to be really proud of that label when I'm done with it. But anyway, let's go back to Noel, because he was actually the person I actually wanted to hear from. I just wanted to add this in as an aside.
Doesn't justify anything that Sargon said there, right? It doesn't matter. Aside from that, why the fuck should he care so much? This is the thing. Why should he care? It wasn't his friend. It was Christie's friend. She should be. I could understand, people say distasteful things. Often not so much in public, tends to be more in private, but say distasteful things. We're more likely to do it about people we have no emotional attachment for. If we have emotional attachment in people, we don't say distasteful things, one, but two, we don't tend to bring them up. We don't tend to use them to furnish our cases when we think that that might result in people saying distasteful things about them, do we? It just seems like really fucking... I don't know, I'm a bit cynical about that. But as a result of what Sargon of Akkad has said, Chrisiosity chimed in and made a series of quite robust comments, and then got onto this sort of rant. I'm gonna tweet you every day for the rest of your life and remind you of this. Right, which is a bit over the top. Yeah, that's a bit sort of threatening, I suppose. But there is a facility called block or mute. You don't even have to block. You can just mute.
And Noel's completely correct. If this was just some rando doing this, I might just block them, or I might just mute them, or I might just laugh at them. But, no, it's because this was a specific group of people doing a specific thing towards me, which they always do. And they always back each other up, because as Tim pointed out, this is the culture war. This is all this is.
And if you do that, then she may as well be writing letters to you, not putting your name and address on it, and chucking it in the fucking fire, right, for all the difference it makes. So you could do that. And as a result of that, Sargon of Akkad then has flagged that up, and she ended up suspended for 12 hours. I don't really see that as a victory.
I see it as a victory, Noel. It got them really, really pissed off. And that's all I wanted out of it. That's because that's all they tried to do to me. They must know they're not persuading people. My Twitter account has hundreds of thousands of followers. They have 15,000 at most. And a lot of those is a lot of crossover of people who follow them despite being on the other side. Like Tom Bloke, for all of the misrepresentations, all of the big social justice accounts follow him. They'll all follow him. They won't retweet him though, unless it's something that he's taken really out of context. But they'll like and laugh at the things that he puts, because they need it for emotional sustenance. They do it to feel better about the fact that they're getting their asses kicked all over YouTube. So yeah, that's fine. I do not mind them doing that at all. Just don't come to me. Just don't ever fucking tweet me, because I swear to God, I'm not going to be nice to these people. These people are pieces of shit, Noel, and you know it. You've experienced it. They do it to you as much, well, not as much as they do it to me, but they do it enough to you for you to know what kind of piece of shit they are. And so imagine how bad it is for me. So yeah, no, fuck these people. This is more than I'm more than happy to report every single one of them that does anything.
Really, I understand the motivation. And I understand the kind of thrill of it's using their tactics back at them.
Yeah, it's making them live up to their own book of rules. That's the thing. They're the ones who whine constantly about cyber harassment. And then as soon as their fifis are hurt, they'll cyber harass. They'll abandon their own principles and just go straight for it. Straight for the kill. Chrissy calling me just, a piece of shit, all these fucking names under the sun. Which, I don't even mind that she does that. That's fine. What my problem is that she minds if someone else does that. And it's like, no, Chrissy, these are the rules. You support these rules. Get the fuck out.
But there are two problems here. One is the there that's involved in this, because we're getting into generalising grounds again, aren't we? Are these Chrisiosity's tactics? Is this something that Chrisiosity has done? Or is it just that if somebody on her side has done it, then that's a legit thing to do to everybody on her side? Because
the problem is the fact that they constantly defend. I mean, we saw with the example of Tim earlier. I mean, he admits, as you have accurately confirmed, she's the one who started this. She instigated this entirely. And yet, nobody cares on their side. Chrissy wasn't calling her out for weaponizing her friend's death. Oh, no. She didn't give a shit. Tim was like, well, I mean, it is this thing, but Sargon, blah, 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 blah. It's not about any consistency at this point. Especially not for them. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
If that's the way it is, then because Sargon of Akkad has done this, then it's perfectly legitimate to get me flagged off Twitter tomorrow if I overstep the mark. Why? Because, well, somebody else on my side has done it, so I'm responsible for that as well.
Well, to be fair, I couldn't have got her suspended if she hadn't done anything wrong. If she hadn't broken the terms and conditions, then they wouldn't have suspended her. You can report someone all day, but if they haven't broken a rule, then Twitter won't suspend you, generally. So it's not my problem that she broke a rule. That what they're concerned about is that I don't like these rules, and I don't like these rules. But I do think the rules should be applied fairly and evenly to everyone, and I think that if you're part of a group of people who will profess to be anti-harassment, and you instantly, the second your feelings get hurt, when one of your friends has instigated the argument, start going on and start harassing and abusing someone else by your own definitions, yeah, you can get a timeout. you can get a taste of your own medicine. It's pretty bitter, isn't it, Chrissy?
We're very keen, aren't we? And we're not responsible for what everybody does, even if they are potentially on our side. This is another thing. I get called a harasser every damn day by these people. Not one shred of proof. There is not one shred of proof that I've ever harassed Denise Sarkeesian. And you know this because if there was, it would be all over Twitter, constantly. But they have nothing. And yet they will accuse me of doing something other people have done. So, again, I'm sorry, Noel, but you'll have to forgive me. I don't care about, oh, they're all individuals. Yeah, but they're all a gang. They act like a gang and you know it. Come on, man. Is something that people like Bering are very big on. Sargon's very big on other circumstances when...
I am, absolutely, normally. For anyone who wasn't acting this way to me, I would absolutely be on that side. But you know these people act this way. We've seen it in this video.
And some of his subscribers do things that he doesn't approve of. They may be on his side, but that doesn't mean he approves of everything they do. I've just looked at Chrisiosity's tweets before I made this video. She's tweeting to say this is the kind of thing that she didn't agree with before. She agreed with biting your tongue and not just flagging something just because technically it might have gone against Twitter's terms of service. But she says now, well, why shouldn't I? Right? Why shouldn't I? Because if those are the rules we're playing by, if we're playing by these rules which are being quoted to her, which is, well, you've just been flagged. Twitter decides, right? This is the problem. I couldn't really give a crap about the ethics of it so much. It's not the ethics of it. It's just common sense. It's the same thing as why not to torture, right?
So I just want to... I'm always sorry to interrupt Noel, because he is making points, and his points are definitely worth listening to. But I think that what's important here is that nothing unethical has happened. That's the difference. Nothing unethical has happened here. Chrissy shouldn't have insulted me and threatened to harass me for forever, but that's an immoral thing she did. You know, she doesn't. There's no ethical violation there. That's just a moral violation from her own standards. The flagging someone on Twitter if they send you something, that's part of the terms and conditions of using Twitter. That's something open to all. You should probably do that, just to make sure that Twitter's rules are enforced correctly. I don't like the rules, but I don't think they should only be applied to some people and not others. And these people flag alt-right accounts all the time, even if these accounts are doing nothing wrong. So it's not that, this is my problem. This is my problem, is that they're not being applied consistently. If we want to change the rules, if we could find some kind of bipartisan effort to petition Twitter to change their rules, I'm up for that. Absolutely I am. But until then, just stay in line. Just stay in line and watch your tongues.
Because it's not just a case of does torture work, but it really needs to work pretty well, because once you start torturing people, then that legitimizes them torturing you. No more can you really say, well, this is fucking, how despicable, we're playing by the rules and they're torturing, if you're torturing. Because they can say, well, we're torturing because you're torturing, and you can say, well, we're torturing because they're torturing. And this is what happens online. You must have seen it with doxing.
But he's absolutely right. Two wrongs don't make a right. I mean, for one of them, I was suspended yesterday for 12 hours because one of them had found a tweet that had been sent from my account by one of my hackers. And I should have deleted all those tweets. I just thought they were funny, and they had a lot of meme value. Here come the pon lease. It's funny. I didn't want to get rid of it, but I should have done, really, because someone found something where the person had tweeted out something about nigger faggots, and I wish I'd screen capped it. Actually, it was a funny tweet. But I wish I'd screen capped it. I didn't think to. I just was like, yeah, delete. But yeah, they as a retaliatory measure went through my account to find anything. And all they could find is something tweeted out by someone else. So yeah, I'm not in any way, I don't have any sympathy for these people at all. They do exactly what they complain about all the time, and they instigate it every single time.
I've noticed this with doxing. Both sides have doxed, claiming that, well, we're doxing because the other side's doxed.
Yeah, I'm totally against doxing in general. There's no good comes of it. No good comes of it at all, and it's just an intimidation method. It's a way of trying to get someone to bow out of the conversation by just sheerly through intimidation. There's no need for it, and there's no justification for it. So the thing that amused me the most is the way that suddenly, as soon as this happened, Kevin Logan sent me this indignant tweet. Well done, Sargon. You got Christiosity temporarily banned from Twitter for saying rude words to you. A victory for free speech? And amazing. I mean, that's literally the opposite of his normal position on this subject. As soon as the coin is flipped, I can just use his own arguments against him. How does this affect her free speech? It's not the government. She broke the rules. She came to me. She can speak on other platforms. There are loads of other reasons that you give. Because every time we're not talking about the letter of the law, we're talking about the spirit of the law. And all of a sudden, you're concerned about the spirit of the law when normally you're concerned about the letter. I'm sorry, I don't agree, Kev. This is nothing to do with free speech. This is to do with one of your friends who abused me. She abused me. If you had any actual consistency and you weren't just being a culture warrior, you would say, you're right, she shouldn't have abused you, she's right to be suspended. She is right to be suspended. And the thing is, Chrissy said this herself. She was like, yeah, okay, fair cop, I shouldn't have said that. She said that. But you instantly into culture warrior mode. Victory for free speech has nothing to do with free speech, Kev. And that's your own argument I'm using against you there. And again, this is why we call people hypocrites. Like here's Music Man Michael Rowlands, complaining that Kevin Logan's channel was flagged down. It's only SJWs who censor free speech. Well, it certainly is SJWs who do it. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. I'm against Kevin Logan's channel being flagged in general. I don't think he just rips off content. I don't think that he's breaking the rules at all. Don't flag people down, basically. But here's you doing it, Mike. Here's a good one that Kraut spotted. Complaining that I'm like, no, I'm just going to do to you what you do to everyone else. And then Vadim, freedom of speech is the most important right of all. Stop you there, Vadim. This has nothing to do with freedom of speech. Unless I have the chance to exact insanely petty revenge. It's not really petty revenge. It's just making you live by your own rulebook. But Vadim does think there are certain times where it's valid to censor speech. And this isn't even a free speech issue, Vadim. But I'll tell you what, it was a thread by Woz that really summed this up best. And I'm just gonna, read it out. People form principles using reason and subjective experiences. The exact degree to which people believe what they believe and the limitations of such are completely dependent on the individual as the priorities of those principles. You may be some freak absolutist, but most people believe things to a point. I'm against violence to the point where you'll be violent to me. I'm for freedom of speech to the point where if you're selling the nuclear codes to North Korea. I'm for fairness until you start being unfair. Principles are not a self-imposed prison, and their application is dependent on the extent of that principle and how you're attributing value to it, which again is going to be completely dependent on the individual. You don't know the extent to which Sargon holds and values his principles and beliefs. All you know is that he's argued in favor of shit, and that experience has led him to the conclusion that it would be more beneficial to put his opponents in a position where they'll argue in his favor rather than argue against it out of some retarded desire to oppose him. There you go, Kev. You are making my argument for free speech, finally. And all I had to do was show you how awful your community is. As far as you know, he's actually upholding his principles by getting arseholes to argue for them. What you're doing is a very common flaw I see a lot of people do, and that you're attributing your perception of his principles and values onto him, even though he obviously doesn't agree with his actions and your comments. Taking the high road wasn't a principle, it was a tactic. We were being portrayed as 15-year-old trolls in our mother's basements, and in order to break that narrative, we had to be at our best. The narrative is long since dead, and the people who spun it are either reviled or forgotten. Now he's doing something new, and the primary complaint from his opposition is, you can't do to us what we do to you. You're meant to be better than us. I'd say it's working. And my god, how it's working. Because what it's got the social justice community to admit about themselves is incredible. Woolly Bumblebee. The funny thing about the Sargon Chrisiosity thing is that the antis are finally admitting words online equals harassment. No, Woolly. I mean, well, hey, they could be a form of harassment. Absolutely. I've never said that words can't be harassment. We've said that words aren't violence. So, nice straw man. But it's also, you are admitting your community is full of harassers. That's what you're doing here, Bully. You're admitting that you harass me, and you claim to be against harassment. Do you see why we call you hypocrites? You went as far as to say, you gave the Nietzsche quote, whoever fights monsters should see to it in the process that he does not become a monster. As Free Kexdown Press here says, loving the fact that Sargon has basically made you admit you're a monster by your own logic. You are the monsters, you fucking idiots. You are persistent, consistent liars and hypocrites. This is why people are against you. I mean, look at Sean, right? Sean will make jokes all day saying, I don't read things. Well, this is very interesting, Sean, because this video wasn't even an entire Sargon long and you didn't even watch it. This is how Sargon of Akkad acts when he's on the receiving end of the terms of service. Now he's gloating about using to get people suspended. Sean, maybe if you'd watched the video, I wouldn't be able to laugh at you for being such a fucking retard. I'm going to save you the time, because basically, I didn't know why I'd been suspended. Sean, you genius, if you'd actually spent any time on this subject, you'll know that I was falsely banned, because this fake DM screenshot was going around. From the alt-right, by the way. Just so you know, the white supremacists you hate so much, they were trying to frame me like this. And I made this video, and within an hour, my account was back and the people spreading this around were banned. Because I wasn't breaking the terms and service. Sean. You fucking idiot. You fucking moron. And as V points out, I didn't break the terms of service. But the thing is, Sean, again, this just goes on the pile of things that you have lied about and failed to correct. I mean, there is a stack of these things just piling up to the ceiling, and you will never retract any of them because you are a persistent liar. You are just, that's all you are, Sean. People think of you as a liar. But I have to say, I do agree with Chrissy. We don't have to do a flagging war. And you know what you need to do to avoid the flagging war, Chrissy? You have to not abuse people. I don't give a shit how hurt your feelings are. I don't give a shit about how hurt any of the friends you have, any of the really shitty friends that you have. I don't care about their feelings either. And you know why, Chrissy? I'll tell you why, and I'll be really, really candid about this. Because you don't care about mine. All they do, all you and your friends do, is tweet at me with bullshit, or lie or misrepresent what I'm saying. So to go ahead. You can sit there and go, well, I'm so offended. Well, be offended. I don't care. I just don't care. Go away. There's no value to your community at all. So get the fuck out. Stop wasting my time. Basically, Chrissy, what I'm saying is don't fucking at me if you don't want me to tell you that, by the way, male feminists are dangerous. And you know that firsthand. Seriously, though, I can't believe any of you expect any kind of charity towards your feelings from me. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. You don't seem to understand that having a community of people doing this to you isn't a very nice thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want you to be banned. I don't want you to be censored. I don't even want you to stop doing what you're doing. Just don't fucking contact me. And certainly don't expect any kind of emotional charity from me, because the next time you tweet at me, I'm just going to remind you that you're still hanging out with potentially dangerous male feminists, and we have a long history of male feminists being dangerous towards the women they hang out with. So, don't even fucking contact me, Chrissy. Go away.